Iron Maiden and Metallica want their fans to go broke, Brujeria mourns the loss of their leader, and Jane's Addiction had a rather productive week. Heavy metal is alive and well, so let's see what keeps it going today. Here you go. Pop a hat in cinemas. Now, most of you guys most likely know that James Hetfield recently starred in yet another movie, this time in a dark western titled The Thicket, based on Joe R. Lansdale's novel of the same name and with Peter Dinklage playing the lead role. And this movie has finally been released last week, with the reviews coming in actually being much better than pretty much what anyone expected. And what I guess is most important for this particular video, the reviews of James Hetfield's work there were actually pretty great as well, with CBR reviews saying that Hetfield makes the most out of his few scenes and he's perfectly understated in the role. Some other reviewers stating that James's appearance in the movie is odd as yet a very pleasant surprise, and overall people are being super nice about, James's work here, which is great. I'm actually really happy for James, especially if this makes him happy, and I'm sure that a lot of Metallica fans have gone to see this movie just because James was there, so I guess it's a win-win, everyone's happy. But the funny thing here is that after the Thicket announcement, I actually started wondering whether James would actually seriously like to pursue a career in Hollywood, and whether after he would eventually have to hang up his guitar and end Metallica, which we all hope that will not come anytime soon, but realistically, how much longer the boys can do this for? He will actually pursue a career as an actor, and literally just a couple of minutes after I thought about it, this news comes in on James commenting on his acting career. So here's what he says. While I'm sitting in a trailer and it's probably minus 10 degrees out up in Canada, we're outside of Calgary and I'm sitting there in period clothing. 1800s turn of the century. I mean, the wool's great, but the shoes are not so great. I'm sitting there with my assistant Ray. It's like, hey, you're shooting today. And then at the end of the day, they're like, we didn't get to you today. And I told Ray, hey, next time I'm asked to do something like this, remind me to say no. And then add in, music is not about waiting. I got an idea? Hey, take this down, let's do this. Practicing your line and waiting to say it 5 days later is like, driving me nuts, said James Hetfield. So, again, here it is. Metallica fans officially should not worry about James's heart belonging to some other career, as he most likely will kind of have to stick with what he actually knows how to do pretty damn well. By the way guys, here I just wanted to point out that only around 30% of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed to the Metal Pilgrim channel. So if you still haven't done so yet, and especially if this is not the very first video you're watching on the show, I would really appreciate it if you would consider doing it right now. Let's continue building this amazing heavy metal community together. Jane's Addiction's strange week. This week, Jane's Addiction proved that even after decades in business, they still can stir up some good old rock and roll drama. During their Boston show, frontman Perry Farrell decided to switch things up, quite literally, by launching himself at the guitarist Dave Navarra mid-set. While performing Ocean Size, Farrell didn't just sing about the vastness of the ocean, he tried to bring the tsunami-level case to the stage, showing and even taking a swing at Navarra. And even more, the rest of the band, along with the crew, had to jump in to keep the situation from turning into a full-blown mosh pit. Unfortunately, this time among the band members and not among the fans. Now, at first the brawl seemed to be sparked by Farrell's frustration with technical issues, mainly the sound drowning out his vocals. His wife, Adela Farrell, later spilled the tea on Instagram, saying the tensions between the band has been bubbling for a while and that Farrell finally snapped, and she even threw some shade at bassist Eric Avery for allegedly cheap-shotting her husband and putting him in a headlock during the scuffle. Now, on pretty much every footage available online, it is pretty evident that during that Boston show, Perry Farrell was under some kind of influence, let's call it like that, with many fans online blaming Perry's love for alcohol for this particular accident. Yet, interestingly enough, on the next day, Perry's wife, Adela Farrell, has hit Instagram with a series of posts and comments stating that Perry was not drunk whatsoever. And even more, claiming that Perry pretty much never drinks, and that bottle of wine, which is present at every Jane's Addiction show on stage, is simply a prop, and he doesn't actually go through more than a third of a bottle during a concert. And overall, the only heavy drinker in their family is Addie herself, who usually gets frustrated with Perry for not bringing alcohol home. And as you guys most likely know, unfortunately for pretty much all of the Jane's Addiction's fans, on the next day after this incident, the band sadly had to cancel the remainder of their North American tour. Due to a continuing pattern of behavior and the mental health difficulties of our singer Perry Farrell, we have come to the conclusion that we have no choice but to discontinue the current US tour. Our concern for his personal health and safety, as well as our own, has left us no alternative. We hope that he will find the help he needs. Our hearts are broken, Dave, Eric, and Steph. After which the band's frontman Perry Farrell also hit the Instagram, taking full blame for this unfortunate incident. This weekend has been incredibly difficult, and after having the time and space to reflect, it is only right that I apologize to my bandmates, especially Dave Navarro, fans, family, and friends for my actions during Friday's show. Unfortunately, my breaking point resulted in inexcusable behavior, and I take full accountability for how I chose to handle the situation, said Perry Farrell in his statement, which sadly did not really comfort Jane's Addiction's fans. As the truth is, even though I'm not really a fan of Jane's Addiction, I can't even imagine what the fans of this band are experiencing right now, as they have been dreaming for the return of this lineup for ages. And now it looks like this dream is slipping away from them. But here's where the things are getting weirder, or more rock and roll, depending on how you look at it. As just days after this onstage throwdown and after the tour cancellation, Jane's Addiction decides to casually drop a new single. That's right, while fans are still processing the brawl, Jane's Addiction goes and releases a haunting ballad titled True Love. With an impeccable timing. It's like saying, yeah, we fought, we canceled the tour, you're not gonna be able to see us live for unforeseeable future, but here's some new music to soothe your wounds. And you know what? It's not half bad. Well, of course, this song is not entirely new, as the band has been performing it live for the past year or so on selected shows. Yet still, it's kind of weird that it has become available on streaming platforms for the very first time right now. But yeah, I guess this is how you do marketing. But in all seriousness, it's actually a very sad story, and I really feel it for all of Jane's Addiction's longtime fans. And truly hope that the band will find strength and courage to continue carrying on in one capacity or another. Huge tour announcements! This week was simply terrible for all the metalheads who wanted to save up some money for 2025, as not one but several bands announced their massive tours for next year. Now, first and foremost, Iron Maiden announced their Run For Your Lives World Tour, a very special run to celebrate the band's 50th anniversary, which will commence on May 27th in Budapest, Hungary next year. As of right now, we only got the announcements for the dates up until August 2025, but if you're attentive, you know that this tour has been announced for 2025 and 2026 already, which means that this European leg is of course just the first leg of a massive world tour. And either in the end of 2025 or in 2026, Iron Maiden will definitely hit the road in North and South Americas, as well as, who knows, maybe hit Oceania and Japan once again. Now, I actually released a 10-minute long video about this tour announcement on the channel just 2 days ago, so I'm not gonna go into the details of this one in this particular episode, but you should definitely check out the other video if you haven't yet. But still, I just wanted to point out that the general sale for this tour starts next week. Yet, if you are an Iron Maiden fan club member, the fan club pre-sales starts this Monday, September 23rd already, which once again is a pretty heavy hit and a rather short notice. Now, another thing we haven't discussed in the original video is that the special guests for the first half of the tour, including the massive London Stadium headline concert, when Iron Maiden will finally fulfill Steve Harris's lifelong dream and perform a headline concert at the West Ham Stadium, will be the American rockers Hale's tour. And for the second half of the tour, Iron Maiden will take on the road the Sweden's Avatar as their special guests, as well as Steve Harris's sons, the Raven Age, who will open for Iron Maiden at selected UK and Ireland shows, which isn't really a bad choice, but I always feel really bad for the bands who get to open for such bands as Iron Maiden. I mean, because on one hand, they do get all the exposure they can ask for, but on the other one, well, the fans there come to see Iron Maiden. And the truth is that no matter how good you are, it is really, really hard to meet those fans' expectations.
Iron Maiden wants you!
But anyways, I of course will talk quite a lot about this tour in the upcoming episodes on the show, including of course the setlist speculations, which I'm already preparing for you. But for now, I just wanted to point out that the truth is that I would absolutely love to see this tour live, just as I'd like to see another one announced this week. Just a couple of minutes after Iron Maiden announced their Run For Your Lives World Tour, Metallica announced the continuation of their M72 tour, which will now span into 2025. Now, as of right now, Metallica announced 21 North American shows spanning April, May, and June of 2025. And yeah, you heard that right, 21 shows. And that means that in 2025, Metallica's M72 tour will be slightly different from the one we saw this year. Because in addition to their 2 nights run in every city that they've been pursuing in 2024 and 2023, in 2025, Metallica's M72 will also feature several single shows at massive American stadiums, to which the boys still promise to bring their entire production, the same as they do for their no repeat weekend around the globe. And now here are just a couple of numbers for all of those who were screaming about how Metallica are irrelevant in the modern world. Their latest album absolutely sucks and no one is listening to this band in 2024. Well, since the start of the M72 tour in Amsterdam in April last year, Metallica has performed live in front of, attention, more than 3 million people. And they are actually on their way to break pretty much all of the existing world records with this M72 tour. So yeah, of course, no one cares about Metallica in 2024, right? And here I just wanted to point out that if you are about to attend any metal show but you have no idea what to wear, or you do but you would like to support this show, just remember that you can get some Metal Pilgrim merch to rock out at your next metal show. And I'll be more than happy to send it pretty much anywhere around the world. So if you do decide to do that, first of all, thank you very much because it does help me out quite a lot. And secondly, the link to the merch store will be in the description to this video. And now comes that time of the video when I announce the Blitz releases, in which we discuss 5 latest releases from this week, which sadly did not get their own segments in this video, yet which are still very worthy of your attention. Symphonic metal legends Nightwish released their new album Yesterwind. According to the band, this marks the final chapter in a trilogy of albums that includes Endless Form's Most Beautiful and Human to Nature. And the album has been rather well received by the critics. However, I should be honest and say that there isn't anything particularly groundbreaking here in my opinion. It is exactly what you'd expect from Nightwish at this stage of their career, and this is neither good nor bad. But either way, definitely give it a spin, at least so you can pay respect to the legendary band. I am the secret street. The Kyiv-based band Megamas dropped their new EP Divide and Liberate, which became the band's first English-language release. Divide and Liberate delves into emotions of intense inner conflict, social injustice, and the power of resilience, with each track expressing these themes and reflecting the band's exploration of personal and societal struggles and conveying a message of defiance and endurance. And here I have to be honest with you and say that this EP has resonated quite a lot with me, as in a way it is a very emotional yet very honest dedication to the brutal reality of war. So definitely do check it out, especially if you've never heard of this band before. Unto Others released their new album Never Never Land. The band is often labeled as goth metal, and this album stays true to the roots. Yet at the same time, this album is much more diverse and interesting than previous works. Never Never Land was produced in collaboration with British producer Tom Dalgetty, who has worked with Ghost, Green Lung, and Royal Blood, and spans a variety of styles beyond goth metal, featuring heavier moments with thrash and black metal charm, faster punk tracks, and a ballad. And at parts even hints at pop that sometimes recall Blink-182 or something like this. Yet I still very much encourage you to check out the entire album, as in my opinion it might be the band's best work yet. In March last year, Drown and Pool announced that Soil vocalist Ryan McCombs had returned to the band. Now, they've released a new track, the first one with McCombs in 13 years, titled Revolution, the Final Amen. And you know what? It's a really fun song to mark the return to the band's roots. 7 hours after Violet, the new band by the System of a Down bassist Shavo Dejan released a new single titled Alive, along with a music video. In all honesty, Alive shares some similarities with the System of a Down's work, but in a good way. And it definitely is not a ripoff in any way. Alive dives deep into the duality of pain and vitality, where suffering becomes a twisted reminder of existence, says Odajan, adding, it's about the dark thrill of feeling alive through intense emotions, even when they blur the line between ecstasy and despair, a haunted space where agony and empowerment collide. Here, as always, I'd like to remind you that our playlist Metal 365, which contains 50 songs not older than 1 year old with no more than 2 tracks per artist, and is somewhat of a Billboard Top 50 of metal for this week, is available on Spotify and YouTube Music. And if you still haven't added it to your streaming library, you should definitely do it. Juan Brujo, no more. Juan Brujo, the iconic frontman and the co-founding member of the band Brujeria, has passed away this week at the age of 61. Known for his raw political charged lyrics and extreme stage presence, Juan Brujo, whose real name was Juan Lepe, was a driving force behind the band's powerful blend of death metal and grindcore, and his death was sadly confirmed on September 18th, 2024 by the band in a rather emotional and heartfelt statement on social media. It is with deep sadness we have to announce that our leader Juan Brujo has passed away today. Juan suffered a heart attack on early Monday morning after a day off from the current Mexorcista tour in St. Clairsville, Ohio. He was rushed to the nearest hospital in Wheeling, West Virginia by emergency services, but despite the medical team's greatest efforts, he died this morning. His family, friends, and bandmates are devastated and wish to mourn in private, while they appreciate the fans' love and support, said the band in their statement. Formed in 1981, Brujeria was as much of a statement as it was a band. Known for tackling quite a lot of issues, mostly dealing with violent drug cartels and immigration, Brujo led the charge with unapologetic fury, challenging the rage of marginalized communities into blistering music. And the band's unique approach to both the music and their stage presence gave them pretty much a cult following all around the world. And while Juan Brujo, of course, was a rather polarizing figure in the world of metal, his unapologetic performances resonated with a lot of fans around the globe. And I guess that's why so many fellow metal musicians, including Carcass and gazillion others, are all mourning the loss of Juan Brujo today. And I guess the best thing you can do today if you're a fan of Brujeria is to blast Juan's music loudly and proudly. Charlotte Wessels Obsession. This week, Charlotte Wessels has finally released her highly anticipated album, Obsession. And of course, who would I be if I would not have invited Charlotte to talk about it on the show? Going back to the album, the two, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think there are two only featuring, two songs with a feature artist there, but those are Alyssa Whiteglass and Simone Simmons, who are both incredible, and having you three on the same record is always, it's always a pleasure to my ears. How was it working with that? And why did you decide to ask specifically, these lovely ladies to join you on this record? And have they had any input on the songs that you've performed together?
So Dopamine, as for Dopamine, like the song itself is about kind of my experience of some side effects of medication I was taking on a type of antidepressant. And actually, the very first time I opened up about that publicly, Simone reached out to me. She was like, hey, let's talk, which was very kind of her. And we connected a lot after that. And we also did some really cool collaborations after that. And when I put the very first version of Dopamine, which is about this topic that we kind of bonded over, when I put that on Patreon, because we follow each other on Patreon as well. When I put that on Patreon, she said like, oh, I've been listening to it on repeat and I like this so much. So then I thought, if this is coming on the record, I would love for her to sing it with me.
Yeah.
And then, so that was really cool. And that kind of had like, it felt really personal and it felt really right. Of course, the song was already written, but with a vocalist like her, I do feel like if she's singing it and she wants to take it elsewhere, be my guest. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. But I think that she stayed pretty close to the lines, and I think that I'm so happy with her performance of the song. Like the second verse that she did, like it gives me goosebumps. So that was really cool. And then as for Ode to the West Wind with Elisa, we've done many collaborations over the last years. I think this is our 5th.
Yeah.
So yeah, because we met back in 2013 and we kind of have been doing collaborations on and off ever since. And one thing that is very typical about our collaborations is that 4 out of 5 of those are the lyrics of the song are based on famous poems. And Ode to the West Wind is based on a poem called Ode to the West Wind by Percy Shelley. And so I didn't have her on the first Patreon version of the song either, but yeah, I dropped it on Patreon, and then I thought this kind of should have been like the next chapter in our kind of series of poetry-based collaborations. And I asked her whether she wanted to join, and I could already kind of imagine where like her voice would go, and especially also where her screams would go, like in the bridge. So yeah, and again, I absolutely love what she did. And we recorded a video for it too. And that was very nice because so far we've done like so many collaborations, like from a distance, like her working from whatever side of the globe she was at that moment. But we actually got to get together for the video recordings, which was very cool. And I'm expecting to see some results like any minute now, so that's exciting.
This is incredible. Hopefully you guys will be able to perform it live, both of those songs, on the upcoming tour.
Yeah,
it'll be incredible. I know it's really hard to work out all the schedules for you, but maybe if at some festival or something like this you're interested, that'll be nice. They're really cool.
Yeah, it would be really cool. We've had a couple of times in the past where our paths crossed.
Yeah.
In beautiful coincidences. So let's hope.
By the way, guys, the full interview with Charlotte Wessels about Obsession, Alyssa Whiteglass, Simone Simmons, and a lot of other things is actually already available on our second channel, Metal Pilgrim 2 MP2. So if you're a fan of Charlotte, or if you're a fan of symphonic metal overall, make sure to check it out right after watching this video. But for now, I just wanted to point out that although I never really was a fan of symphonic metal, this album, it was something that really hooked me because it was slightly different and much more honest than pretty much anything I've heard in the genre for quite a long time. So if you are a fan of symphonic metal, definitely check it out, and then come back here and let us know what you guys think about it. By the way, guys, if you noticed, since I started doing these metal digests on the show, which wasn't too long ago, but I actually invite a guest for pretty much every new episode. So first of all, please let me know whether you like this format or not, and secondly, please do write in the comments whom would you like me to invite on our next episode. Because the truth is that I would love to invite more and more people into the Metal Pilgrim family. But anyways, what new music did you listen to this week? As always, thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and thank you so much for supporting me, the show, and Ukraine through this very difficult time. Please don't forget to leave any comments about how I can improve these metal digests of ours, and of course, do not forget to subscribe to this channel, as well as my Instagram, Facebook account, and you know the drill. Come on, God bless you all. Slava Ukraini!